Hey y'all, first time after a year and a half this car's been out. We got the Z06. It's nice. It's the
Jump to conclusion. It's very good.
Jump to conclusion. In this video, we will determine, is the Z06 nice?
Is it any good?
Because, spoiler alert, yeah, it's nice.
But we'll explain why. That's the important part. So
Right.
Stick around.
Yes. In this video, we will explain why the appropriate comparison for the Z06 is actually the 2014 and 15 Ferrari 458 Speciale, a car that was 3 times the price of this when new, and is now 4 times the price of this if you actually want one.
And I looked, the cheapest 458 on Auto Tempest right now, not sponsored, is 140 grand, and it's a salvage title with 12,000 miles on it.
Right. That's for a regular.
That's for a regular one.
A Speciale
Yeah.
is like $700,000. This is a really, really neat car, and further evidence that when GM Performance goes balls to the wall, they generally succeed.
Yes.
I mean, between Z06, between E-Ray, CT4, and CT5 Blackwing, all on the market at the same time, I don't know if GM Performance has ever had a stronger collective lineup.
Ooh, that's pretty good. I mean, whenever they put their mind to sports cars and race cars, they do a great job.
They do a great job.
But this is obviously a new idea because it's mid-engine.
Right.
Something in the works for a long time.
And it's also flat plane crank.
Also that.
And dual overhead cam. You got to go way back to the C4 ZR1 to find a Corvette that was dual overhead cam, and that was engineered by Mercury Marine.
Well, because when the engine was in the front, to enlarge the engine, which the double overhead cam does, they were kind of out of room. Which when you drove the ZR1, that cowl was tall enough. But when the engine's back there, we don't really see it. It doesn't really matter.
Yes,
so you can
they can mount it lower. They can
make
the
the
heads
big.
can go higher. Right. So Zach's never driven a Z06 until today. I drove one for 2022 Performance Car of the Year, Road and Track, which it won. Excuse me, it was 2023 Performance Car of the Year, which we filmed in 2022. So you can see my track test of that if you go to Road and Track's YouTube channel for the Performance Car of the Year. But this is a street car, street test. This is a 3LZ non-Z07. I hate GM's stupid nomenclatures. But what that means is Pilot Sport 4S tires, regular mag ride suspension, not the super stiff ones.
Forged wheels, not carbon wheels.
Right. And the slimline aero, the little front splitter, the little rear wing. So this is actually a car, and it does have optional ceramic brakes on this one, and nose lift. So this is actually really a street setup, which I've been waiting a long time to drive, because I've now driven 2 Z06s, both of which were like super hardcore track ones, and I wanted to see what is the street one like.
This is the 750S setup. This is kind of your streetable supercar setup.
Yeah.
Nose lift, but low aero, so it doesn't look like race car.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the drag of track wing.
And PS4S tires, so that if it rains, you don't die.
Yes, also good.
So show them what you do, Zach.
All right.
So you got Sport, Tour, and Track, and then you've got the Z button on the steering wheel, so you can customize your mode, your steering, your shocks, your engine, your gearbox, your brakes,
of course,
and your ESC. I have, as I always do, made my Z mode so the powertrain is in kill, the suspension is in soft, and the steering and brakes are in the middle.
In the middle.
Yeah.
All right.
And the gearbox is in the manual. Haven't spent a lot of passenger seat time in Corvettes. I gotta say, impressed with the legroom. It's comfy over here.
They're very comfy. We should probably.
I
mean, it's got a dual clutch.
Got it. And there we go. Wheel spin. 8, 7.
Guys, I am so excited to say that the Smoking Tire is back in the merch game. We have built a new merch store. Easy checkout, easy shipping, very fair prices on everything. All of our new merch is super high quality. The materials, the fit, the durability, the print quality. Some of the items are based on cars I've owned or own with a Smoking Tire twist. Other stuff is more general enthusiasm, like this hoodie designed by Zach. And we're going to be adding new stuff every week. This first run of merch, super limited edition, only 50 units of each item. So head over to that merch store right now and get it while it lasts. and then keep checking back for regular merch drops from your buddies at The Smoking Tire. Now, enjoy today's video.
It's hard to get to 8. It takes work, doesn't it?
It does. There's a lot of rev, and I like the gearing, though. It's not too tall. Revs to 8,600, max torque and power, 8,600, 670 horsepower.
This car's peak torque, right, which is 460 pound-feet at 6,300 RPM. That RPM is as close as makes no difference to the red line of the base Corvette. This thing gets going right when that car kind of runs out.
That is quite the handoff. I mean, this has titanium valves, titanium push rods. This has 6 oil scavengers for the dry sump system, which is twice as many as the 458 engine had.
Well, think about how much more grip this car makes than a regular 458. I mean, you got 275 fronts, 345 rears, and with the optional Cup 2s, the G's you can pull in this are insane.
They're really, really impressive. And also the launch, I mean, part of the reason they wanted to go mid-engine, of course, for the whole platform is to keep up with everybody else. But now you have 2,300 pounds of, 3,700 total, pushing on the back axle.
Yeah.
So even in this trim, like the streety trim, it goes 0 to 60 in 2.7, maybe less on a good day.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's quarter mile in 10.5. I mean, these are McLaren numbers. I did out some math. This car is 326 pounds heavier than the 458 Speciale Coupe, okay? But it has 73 more horsepower and 62 more pounds of torque. So although the 458 Speciale is 5.6 pounds per horsepower, this is 5.4.
Yeah. This also has a better pounds per horsepower than the GT4 RS,
yes,
which weighs 500 pounds less than this. But even with that, this has so much power that it has a better ratio. It is so easy to drive the C8, this one or the regular one, quickly. Driving this today has convinced me that my next car should be mid-engine, even though I've been such a staunch supporter.
Dude, it's hard to go back.
It's really hard to go back.
I've developed quite the mid-engine fleet. It's hard to go back.
You really have. I mean, but the turn-in is so good. The steering weight of this, even in the middle setting, is perfect. I get a good amount of information from the tire, but it's still light in the front because it's literally light in the front.
Yeah.
It's so nice. And especially, sorry, real quick, the Vantage I just drove had the same width tires as this car in the front, but it has that whole engine up front to manage and to deal with, and the steering had no feel. This has way less weight, but the steering feel is good. God,
and this engine, I mean, what an engine.
Yeah.
It's just like a Ferrari V8, naturally aspirated, but with slightly more bass.
Slightly more bass because it's about a full liter larger, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but when you started, when you drove by today, it sounds exactly like a Ferrari, which is a great compliment. It's a wonderful sound, and it just revs so freely.
This is the most. This is the most exotic that an American car has ever felt for me.
I totally agree. I think I have brake fade right now.
Really?
Yeah, I think on that last.
That would be amazing, considering we have carbon ceramics.
We'll let them cool for a minute, and I'll tell you if that's true or not. Anyway, continue.
Maybe it's brain fade. I don't know.
Brain fade.
Yeah. No, it's just this. When I saw you drive by when we were doing mounted shots, and when you're driving it, I mean, because of this engine and the unbelievable work the chassis team have done, this feels like an exotic car.
Oh, totally. Like if you close your eyes, we can do it real quick. 1, 2,
yeah.
No.
Close your eyes.
Okay. It does totally feel. Everyone, the internet's gonna lose their mind right now. It feels like a Ferrari. It sounds like a Ferrari. Every bit about it is Ferrari. If you hadn't seen a regular C8 go by, you would think that this is And if you took the Corvette badge off, you would just think this is a supercar from a company.
Well, I have a neighbor at WCCS who has a McLaren 750S in this very similar blue. And when the new Corvette came out, when the C8 came out, he got really annoyed because someone asked him if his McLaren was a vet.
Oh, they don't look that much alike.
They don't, but in the right color at first glance.
But the fact that someone mixed them up, that would sting a little bit. So many good sounds. And the transmission just shifts instantly.
Yeah.
Downshifts are quick. Engine just revs so freely.
Yeah. Everything about the powertrain and chassis of this car is good and righteous.
Yeah, everything about operating this as a driver's car is great.
Can I have a
yes,
go,
you
please?
can.
I want to drive, but I want a Z06 now.
I want a Z06 now, Daddy.
While we are sitting here, let me tell you something that's annoying about Corvettes. The white trim on the dash. I got 2 hockey sticks on the windshield.
Yeah.
Can't see. Fortunately, I have my Dylan Optics polarized sunglasses. That knocks it back about 30%.
That is a choice that OEMs across the board, no one should do this. Do not make the dash light colored in any way.
That's crazy.
Engineers, they just need to test that reflection, because I can see your hockey sticks from here.
Yeah.
It's like every angle they're just reflected.
It is unbelievably distracting, and it's distracting at night. It's distracting all the time.
Yeah, you think the road line's going that way?
It's crazy. So,
headliner's soft.
Your first impressions, obviously positive.
Yeah. Yeah,
so
pretty good.
My first impression was on a racetrack with the trackiest version of this, and it was, oh my sweet baby Jesus. And you can see that in the road and track video I made. So this one, when it showed up, I was like, great, street spec. And I've been dailying it for 3 days. It is so usable as a daily. It's got the nose lift, the suspension in comfort mode. It doesn't tram line or dart, it's great. And I was like, that's incredible. What will happen when we go up the hill? Will it be knocked back to the point where it's not good anymore? So let's find out. I am immediately reminded that the real reason I'm here is for the engine, and that's good.
Yeah, I don't think you'll be disappointed.
And of course, because it's a Corvette, all roofs are removable. You could get the convertible and it's removable hardtop power, or this Targa roof, which is manual, and so you can enjoy that open air motoring in all trims if you want.
Yeah, that is a
Ferrari.
fantastic design.
Ferrari, you got to pick one.
Right. From a function standpoint, one of the only things I haven't liked about this car is that the bottom of the seat is a tiny bit short.
It is.
It's like it needs 2 to 3 more inches. But laterally, it's pretty good, and the comfort is pretty good of this compared to the race bucket you get. That's one of my only complaints.
I think we're going to need to make a gap because this person is not going to let us by.
Okay.
In general, I don't love the interiors of the Corvettes. I don't love this wall for the passenger. I don't love that the passenger can't really operate the MMI as efficiently as in some other cars. It's got this sort of my first mid-engine Top Gun fighter plane vibe to it. I don't like the square wheel.
The square wheel is terrible. If you look at it, I felt this on the way up. The axis on which it rotates, I swear to God, is below the center of the squeal.
It is. So if you hold your hands where you're supposed to hold your hands, it's like the galleon ride at the amusement park, the swinging ship.
What?
At Six Flags, those ships where it goes.
Oh, yes.
It's like that. So your hands are swinging underneath a pendulum.
Yeah, and the effort is different. If you move your hands a half an inch up, it feels normal.
Right.
So that's weird.
It is.
I get what you're saying about the Kirkland fighter pilot here.
It is a little bit like that. It's my first mid-engine
If you're
car.
Sitting there, it's easy to operate. But if you're sitting here, you do feel isolated, you're being taken for a ride.
What do I do over here?
Well, that's why you can add one of those dumb screens that no one uses in front of you, like so many exotic car companies.
All right, we go. But then you go.
Oh, it is the beautiful Italian music.
None of my interior criticisms are like unforgivable, by the way. None of them are like everything else about this car is so good that none of that stuff is a deal breaker.
I've actually come around on the functionality of these buttons along the wall, the chastity wall I called it. Like, I think it's a very tidy way to put a lot of controls versus having a bunch of buttons on the dashboard. But I understand what you're saying. You feel a little isolated.
Yeah.
The grip, though, like the grip and the ride and the double wishbone suspension does exactly what that stuff does perfectly, which is just keeps your contact patch on the ground over bumps, the whole thing. And on the way up here, the ride on the 405, one of the worst roads in the country, is as good as it gets before you get to a Rolls Royce. I swear to God.
Or a McLaren 7 Series.
Or that.
But yes.
But it's so good. I mean, this car has such a breadth of abilities.
It is, I mean, just shockingly great.
Yeah.
I haven't driven in 18 months, come back to it, and it's just wow.
Yeah.
Wow, wow, wow. I mean, can you believe Ferrari was here 10 years ago and went, you know what, let's move on? Like, that's
Well, they
nuts.
went turbocharged and they got faster. What I think is so impressive, though, is you go, okay, well, that's why people paid all the money for that 10 years ago.
All the revs.
All the revs, all the grip.
Brakes feel fine to me.
Yeah?
Yeah. Hold on.
I was also going downhill, so I was using them more.
Maybe. They feel fine to me. I wouldn't be too concerned. Gearbox is great. I mean, if it was a manual, I don't think I could keep up.
No, I wouldn't want it. I wouldn't want it.
And the PS4S tires, I don't need anything more than that on the street. These tires are fine.
Oh no, they're a very sticky tire with a big temperature range as well. And I'm so impressed by how easy it is to place the car. Like, I could move it over 1 inch and you felt that movement. Versus, I mean, again, the Vantage has so little feeling. You're driving by sight in terms of the front end. Some cars do that, where like you're placing the car by sight instead of feel. NSX a little bit.
This engine runs cold. After that run we just did, the coolant temp is 176 Fahrenheit.
This has a lot of cooling going on.
That's cold.
Keep it really cool.
Yeah.
I don't know how many oil coolers it has, but they're doing a very good job.
Sufficient.
Lower third. Sufficient.
Yeah.
That's really cold.
It has. That's really cold for
this truck.
For what
like
we were just doing.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, it's cool. This thing is so rad. $147,000 is a ton of money, but for what you get with this car, that is an unbelievable value.
Well, but the Z06 starts at like 120 as a base.
Yeah.
So if you want a track car, you could start with that if you wanted to. This just has the leather and, this kind of suede-ish headliner and all these other things on it. But man, I mean, even, like you said, even for 150, what does a good 911 is going to cost?
Carrera S's are 150.
To start.
Is way faster and more exotic.
Yeah, GT3, forget about it.
GT3 is they're in the middle to high twos, and honestly, they're not as good to drive on the street as this. They're just not. They're granted they're put together a little better, but they're
super stiff.
They're really stiff on the street.
And Car and Driver tested this against GT3 from 0 to 150 to 0, and this beat it by 2 seconds.
Yeah, that's a lot.
This
beat GT4 RS at that Performance Car of the Year. Universally, it was 1-2, and it was quicker around the track, and people liked it better on the street also.
Wow!
And that was the track version. This on the street, this is like comparable in terms of ride to like a non-RS Porsche.
Yeah,
like this is great. If you want the Ferrari 458 Speciale experience, but in a car that you don't have to treat like a precious collectible, a car you can use as a car, but still gives you all of those vibes. This is like it.
Yeah.
This is the jam. And you can just use it as a car. Like, this could be your daily, no problem, as long as you don't live in a super snowy place.
This would be fun with snow tires. You'd just be a little bit low. But
would.
You got 2 trunks. You got a decent amount of space.
Nose lift.
Very usable.
CarPlay works.
Does 458 Speciale have nose lift? And does it have bumpy road?
It has
also?
bumpy road.
Okay,
it does have bumpy road, but it doesn't. I don't know about nose lift. It's been a long time. But I mean, what an achievement this car is. I know they're hard to get. I know they're marked up. The odds of getting one for MSRP are slim to none. But you know, so your mileage may vary, but like, hot damn.
Very good.
Is it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for go support our Patreon if you want. Patreon.com/TheSmokingTire Podcast. Hit up our merch store at TheSmokingTire.com. We got new stuff going up there all the time. And you know, like, subscribe, blah 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 blah. See you later.
And remember, always fight your tickets on the Off the Record app, available in the Android and iOS store, or go to offtherecord.com/TST.